All right, good Friday evening, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of your forecast. Hope everyone's doing well today. We are going to give it a couple of moments. Going to share this with a few other locations before we get started. But we're going to talk about rain totals first. Again, it's been relatively dry until the last 2 days. We've had some pretty wet weather at a couple of MCSs, at least what we call MCSs in the weather world, mesoscale convective systems come pushing through the high plains. So that has certainly set us up for some nice rain amounts, especially out towards eastern New Mexico, which we'll show you here in just a second. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So right now you're taking a look at the rain totals that we've had over the past 24 hours. So this only factors in what we had last night. Some of us had anywhere from 1 to 3 inches the day before out there in New Mexico and the Northwest Panhandles. Kind of the same spots, getting hit with some good rainfall again, anywhere from a half inch to about 2 to 2.5 inches of rain. Again, it was a little bit more widespread last night than it was the day before. We even had a little over a half inch of rain on the east side of town in Amarillo. North side also had a little bit above a half inch. They had about a third of an inch of rain in southwest Amarillo, but you guys had the heavy rain the day before. So actually, in terms of the last 48 hours, you're doing better than the east side of town is. Anywhere from around 6/10 of an inch to as much as an inch to an inch and a half of rain has fallen over the last day here, last 2 days here in Amarillo. 4,200 here at the ASOS site there in Canyon. About 2/3 of an inch of rain at the airport towards Tucumcari. But you can see again, we've got some really heavy rain out here in portions of Quay, Union, Dallam, Hartley, and Oldham County. We had about 7/10 of an inch there in Boise City, about an inch in Perryton. Some good moisture for you guys, and it says 1.9 there in Beaver. That might be an erroneous number, but we did have a couple of isolated cells up there. So here's some of the highest totals that we've had reported to us so far, on top of the West Texas Mesonet, Oklahoma Mesonet, Eastern New Mexico Mesonet sites. Those are, again, a large portion of these that have been incorporated into your top 24 totals. So this may not be gospel truth for you. Again, rain is not uniform. You can be 5 or 10 miles away from the site that picks up the rainfall, and you may not have any rain at all. It just depends on where exactly those storms come through. But they were pretty widespread. This does give us a pretty good gauge as to some of those areas that had some heavy rainfall. Tucumcari right at 2 inches of rain. Amistad at 1.88. Sedan and Grady. I mean, just look at how many New Mexico towns and communities are on that left-hand column. Logan, New Mexico, picking up over an inch of rain. We've got Hayden, Indy. Again, we can go over towards Grenville. They even had about 6/10 of an inch of rain. Here in the Texas Panhandle, the highest total that we had was in Memphis. That was actually due to a localized thunderstorm down in the southeast Panhandle. But all of this rain has led to some runoff. We're taking a look at river gauges right now. Again, you can just see the dots there. There's the one at the Canadian River. They're all green, so that's a good sign that we're not seeing any of them reach action stage or flood stage, which we really don't forecast them to reach flood stage. The only one that we might be worried about would be the one there at the Canadian River. It could get close to action stage. I do want to show you its current levels over the past several hours. It's not crazy high. It's at about 3 to 3.5 feet in terms of the level. So it is elevated, but it's below action stage, which is 6 feet for us. The discharge rate currently is 660 cubic feet a second. If you convert that into acre feet an hour, it's about 54. So it's not a huge volume of water headed towards Meredith, but it will probably continue to slowly add to the lake level here over the next couple of days. Another thing to keep an eye on is some of that water that's come out of Revolto Creek. They actually had a discharge rate as high as 6,000 cubic feet per second. And so you're talking about 10 times the volume of water coming out of Revolto Creek early this morning. There was probably about 4,000 or 5,000 acre feet that have come pushing through that river gauge or past that river gauge this morning and throughout the day today. Not all of that's going to get to Lake Meredith, but a chunk of it will. Again, we had some good rain there in the river valley, so the ground is saturated. You're probably not going to get much absorption or penetration of that water into the soil. A lot of that should continue to run off through the riverbed and down towards Meredith. So I would venture to believe that Meredith probably comes up a couple thousand acre feet here over the next 7 days. That river gauge there in New Mexico, it usually takes about 7 days before that water reaches Meredith. So it could be this time next week before you start to actually see that rise in Lake Meredith. And you are going to get some evaporation between now and then. So even if we had, say, 5,000 acre feet of water past that gauge, you're not going to get 5,000 acre feet at the mouth of the river there on Lake Meredith. So that's, again, something to also consider. You probably are only going to get about 30 to 40% of that to actually get to the lake. So that's why we're kind of thinking about 2,000 acre feet of water added to the lake over the next 7 days. Let's go ahead and take a look at your outlook for today. We have a general thunderstorm risk out there in New Mexico. Here's what it looks like on the computer model. You can see just some sporadic showers and thunderstorms out there, not really expecting any severe storms. And again, most of us will go rain-free today. We'll be rain-free tomorrow and probably rain-free again on Sunday. The big talk of the weather features for the next week will be the heat. Temperatures likely going to be in the high 90s and maybe even into the triple digits as we head through the weekend and into Monday and Tuesday. Now, I do want to show you what it looks like on our upper level weather pattern through the next 5 to 6 days. You can see that ridge of high pressure really the closest it gets is East Texas, and that's probably on Monday. And so that may be our hottest stretch of weather through the next 7 days. And we currently have you at like 98 to 100 degrees. So it's possible we don't quite get to the century mark here in Amarillo. Generally speaking, the further east you go, the hotter it's going to be when you get closer to the center of this ridge. But notice by Wednesday, it starts to retreat back up into the breadbasket of America, back up there in the Midwest. If that continues to verify, we'll get maybe a weakening of the heights aloft here in the Central Plains, and we do get that south to southwesterly flow. So monsoon moisture could get pushed into the area should we get any kind of disturbance to pass through next week. We can't rule out thunderstorms, but predominantly does look relatively dry. But if you take a look at the 7-day tracker, we are going to keep that 10 to 20% pop in there every day, just due to the fact that we can't rule out a thunderstorm. I don't think we'll see storms most of next week, but it is one of those things that you just can't quite take out of the forecast. So that's why you see those pops or those percentage chances in there. But generally speaking, I would expect a lot of sunshine next week. Most of us don't see rainfall. Those that do, it'll be downpours, so you'll probably get a heavy amount of rain. But it's not going to be for everyone. It's going to be hit and miss fashion, so it will only be for a few select locations. As far as temperatures are concerned, Sunday and Monday will be the two hottest days for us. We've bumped those down just a smidge. Again, we still have not seen a triple-digit day in Amarillo this year with all the recent moisture we've had. That may be the final straw in maybe keeping us from 100 here in Amarillo on Sunday and Monday. Now, it is going to be muggy. It's certainly going to be a humid heat rather than the dry heat like we're used to. So your heat index values could very well be in the triple digits. So still want to pace yourself when being outside. That is all we've got for you this afternoon. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you on TV at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock.